Good morning and welcome to English Communication A assignment-based contact class. My name is Elizabeth Shimwaza and I'm your tutor. I'm going to guide you on assignment and tackling the assignment question. I wish you all to be hardworking, dedicated, and self-driven students in this course. I'm the one responsible for marking your assignments as well as the examination for this subject. This presentation will cover the assignment questions. General guidelines on writing academic assignments will be explained. Instructions and information to candidates. When you are writing your assignment, you need to pay attention to the module outcomes. Read your questions carefully before attempting to answer them. You are required to write neat and clear work. If possible, type your assignments. The font for all typed assignments should be the Calibri body, size 12, and the spacing should be 1.5. Before you submit the assignment, make sure that all your answer sheets are stapled together securely. In case you have some challenges with questions, call me, provided you have read your work. Consult various sources for more information. In your module, you might find that you won't be able to find all the necessary answers that you need to answer a question. So don't be afraid to consult other sources of information for you to be able to answer your assignment correctly. Let's quickly go through the subject overview. Throughout your career, you'll be required to describe events in English in your own words. The official language of Namibia is English, although this has only been the case since the independence in 1990. Prior to independence, English and Afrikaans both held official language status, although in reality, the majority of communications on an official base was conducted in Afrikaans. People must have a clear purpose in learning English. They must know why they want to learn English. One may just want to act efficiently as a police officer serving customers. Here too, you will need to know English to deal with your more valuable customer. English is one of the most widely language spoken around the world, as well as the most taught. Many people learn English as their foreign or second language, and it is the lingua franca of business. If you learn English, you'll be able to get ahead professionally. The exit learning outcomes. Upon completion of this module, you should be able to identify different parts of speech. Explain the use of punctuation marks. Explain the use of tenses in English. Explain how to and combine sentences. Illustrate the use of different types of questions. Use active and passive voice and apply direct and indirect speech. Explain skimming, scanning, and intensive reading. Okay, let me just explain a bit. When you're asked to identify or how are you supposed to identify different parts of speech? We know that there are 9 basic different parts of speech in English, which are the nouns, the pronouns, the adjectives, the adverbs, the conjunctions, the prepositions, and so on. So when you are studying your module or when you're studying any other source in English, you need to be able to identify these parts of speech. You also need to use different punctuation marks. This is the question marks, the quotation marks, the inverted commas, colonies, semicolonies, full stops. You need to be able to use these punctuation marks. Explain the use of tenses in English. These are now the verb tenses. The present tense, the present continuous, the present perfect, the past tense, past continuous, past perfect, future tense. You also need to know how to combine sentences. This is when we are using normally conjunctions. illustrate the different types of questions, open-ended questions. What are the different type of questions? That is basically what you need to do here. Okay, let's move on. Now, let's move on to the assignment questions now that you are going to get. These assignment questions are discussed as they appear on your tutorial letter for 2017. Here are the simple questions and how to answer them. Question number 1. Discuss the importance for a policing student to have knowledge of the use of comparative and superlative form. We know that the superlative form and the comparative form comes from the use of adjectives. So you as a police officer, why do you need to know, or why do you need to understand the use of the comparative and the superlative form? To discuss, you are expected to give a clear description of the comparative form and the superlative form. So give a clear description of the importance for the policing students to have the knowledge of the use of the comparative and the superlative form. When you're giving your description, please use examples. Use examples on how to use comparative and superlative form in policing. This is how you'll be able to tackle this question. Question number 2, differentiate between the use of a colon and semicolon and give examples for each in a sentence. Okay, basically, every time when you give an answer, always try to support your answer with an example, because maybe your definition or your discussion might not be correct, but your example will help to answer the question. So to differentiate is to give the differences. So in this question, we are basically looking at the differences of a semicolon and a colon. Use examples as well. Question 3. Give the significance of why and how sentences are joined. If you remember when we were checking the learning exit outcomes, let me quickly go back to that slide. Okay. It says here, identify part of speech, explain the use of quotation marks. We already covered that on question number 2. Now, explain how to and combine sentences. This point number 4, it's the one that you're going to use to answer question number 3. You go onto your module and you read where it's talking about joining sentences. So explain the reasons for joining sentences and give examples on how we can join sentences in English. So you quickly go onto that section where it tells you on joining sentences in English. And please, when you are giving me examples, don't repeat the same examples that you have in your module. Try to think of your own examples. That will help you to gain a better marks. Question 4. Discuss different types of questions for investigating a case and give examples of each. So all the questions that you are going to get in this assignment are based on the learning exit outcomes. It means you just need to study your module, understand it, and come up with your own examples on answering these questions. So in this question, you are just supposed to list the types of questions for investigating a case and give examples of each type of question. So for example, if you say, okay, I'm going to use open-ended questions, you later on give an example of an open-ended question. Question 5. Discuss skimming, scanning, intensive reading methods and give examples. You have to define skimming, define scanning, and define intensive reading methods with aid of examples. Emphasis on examples. Write your own example. Don't copy examples from the module. Question 6. Complete the sentences using the following bold words. Okay, you are going to be given words which you are going to use to complete sentence. So you use the words in the table to complete the missing words in the given text. This one is clear and straightforward. Question 7. Read the following text and underline the correct answers. So basically, you are going to be given a text with two options to choose from, and you just underline the correct answer. Please read carefully the text and underline the correct answer from the given words. Pay attention to spellings and grammar, because some spellings will be wrong, and maybe you need to correct a grammar here and there. Question 8. Rewrite and make corrections on the following sentences that are grammatically wrong. Correct all the grammar and spelling mistakes and rewrite the sentences correctly. Read the sentences and identify the adjectives and the noun that has been given. Question 9. This is a multiple choice section. You are going to be given a set of questions with multiple choice options. Choose the correct answer for the choices provided. This section mainly focuses on grammar, that is the part of speech, and the punctuation marks. Multiple choice questions are a bit tricky because most answers, they appear to be the same, but they are not. So you have to read the options carefully one by one against the question so that you can get the correct option for that question. So pay attention to those tricky questions which might appear to be correct, but in actual fact, they are not the correct answer. Question 10. Identify the following part of speech. So in this section, you are going to be given a text where you have to identify the nouns, the verb, the present tense of the verb, the infinite verb, the verb in plural form, the pronoun, the preposition, and the conjunction. And the section B of question 10, you are going to be asked to change the text from present tense to past tense. So you are just going to rewrite that text. Let's quickly check how how the assignment cover page should look like. You have to write your student number, your surname, and your name on the space or column provided clearly and correctly. Note the subject code must be correct. For example, this is Policing Communication A, and the subject code is POLP, that is POLP /BEA, as well as the name of the subject, which is English Communication 1A. Fill in all other required information to make sure that the assignment cover page is correctly completed. Common errors made by students. These are, number 1, writing wrong subject code on the cover page, or you put another cover page for another assignment. That's another error. Providing a wrong student number. Papers not stapled tightly and some pages get lost. Or the papers are not stapled in order. So you need to number your page numbers so that you don't staple in the wrong order. Copying or photocopying other students' assignment and submitting as your own work. Making copies of the study guide and submitting. Here on making copies of the study guide, this is simply you copy word for word from the study guide. Like what I was explaining, that don't copy examples from the study guide, try to come up with your own examples. Instructions and information to candidates. What should you do in this assignment? You need to provide sufficient answers, meaning don't write too little and don't write too much. Also, check the mark allocation to determine the length of your answer. If your answer requires 1 mark, just write short answer, and if your answer requires 10 marks, it means the answer should be a bit longer. Try by all means to use your own words and refer to your own experience. Make sure your statements or ideas make sense of what you intend to say. Good luck with this assignment, and please do not hesitate to contact me should you experience some challenges in completing the assignment. My phone number is 0817 356 991. 0817 356 991, and my email address is zabe.chim, that is zabe.chim @yahoo.com.